What's up? I
Dude,
guess we should do our
I,
intro.
al- I, I almost got a Dorianis, a pastel Dorianis,
Oh, fuck yeah. Why didn't you?
because it was $900.
Oh, yeah. I don't
Yeah,
blame you there.
yeah.
Yeah, they're
And
fucking.
Chris tried to get a Indian Star Tortoise.
Yeah?
Yeah, and the guy wouldn't make the trade that Chris wanted to do, so he ended up getting two Samboa morphs.
Oh, sweet. Like Kenyan Sambos?
Yeah, and he got a really cool tricolor hognose. I think
Tricolor
it's like
hognoses
solid
are
black.
sick. It was solid
Yeah,
black.
that was like solid black.
That's pretty fucking cool. I have not heard of that before.
Yeah, no. So, and then I was looking around and I went back and I was going to buy that ornate.
I'm
But she
surprised you
sold it.
didn't. I'm really surprised you didn't. Because it was what, $75? I feel like it's cheap as
Yeah,
fuck.
I could have probably gotten it for 40.
Damn.
But that milk snake was labeled at 150 and I ended up getting it for 60. So,
Good price. He's pretty.
yeah.
He looks
And
calm, right?
he's all right. I mean, I held him for a little bit today, not terribly long. But he's in one of those sliding glass front enclosures. And I worry about him not being big enough to be in that. Because you know how they slide out between the glass. So that's
Yeah,
what I thought happened. But I think he's big enough that he won't slide through it. But
you can always make like you can use. There's usually like stuff you can put in between to prevent them from sliding.
well, I also put I put one of those like case locks on it.
Mhm.
You know, the ones that slide over the glass that you
Yeah,
slide the piece on. So I put one of those on there so that because the ball python pushed out of it. So I was like, oh.
how
So I
are
gotta
the
lock
ball
this.
pythons doing?
They're good. I actually put the two together
Yeah,
just
you
to see
sold
what.
any breeding?
And I haven't seen anything yet, so I mean, I don't know how long to leave them together or anything like that. So, oh, and then I got washable silicone cups for the geckos.
Oh yes, I've had those before. They're so clutch, dude.
Yeah,
They're
they're like
so nice.
awesome. I'm so glad, but they're big enough, but they're not big enough for
Mm,
my ledges. So I'm like,
that sucks.
now I'll have to buy a new ledge or hope they don't just push them through.
Do you think you could just
So
do like a a rim of silicone and wait for it to dry and then put them in? Does that make any sense at all?
probably, yeah, do it around. So.
All right. I don't even know what the hell to
Dude,
talk about today.
your additions are getting bigger and bigger. Like I see more and more stuff behind you now.
Oh, and it's all been here. I've just moved different angles.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was like, that's new, fun, and exciting.
Yeah, this is
I mean,
the same grow tent. Well, actually, it's the grow tent wall is it's only 3 tents now instead of 1, 2, instead of 4 or 5, whatever the hell it was.
I mean, I only got my nice little 10-gallon bird cage with my tarantula in it.
That's what these are. These are all the tarantulas. This is a tarantula right here.
So I really went I went in today to go. I went to the reptile show today because I wanted a baboon.
Yeah, what kind of baboon are you looking for?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I always wanted to have a what is it, the king baboon,
Yeah, those are sick, dude.
and like nobody has them or an ornamental baboon.
Um, Strictly has both right now, actually.
Well, and then they had so the spider game has gotten huge,
Yeah.
literally, and like there was a cobalt blue there, and I was like, ooh, cobalt blue, but it wasn't a cobalt blue; it was like a cobalt blue something. And I was like, what is this cobalt blue something you speak of?
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 different species that like people just call cobalt blues, but like they're actually different
Yeah,
species, so that something was probably just like to describe what species it was.
yeah,
They're cool as fuck.
because yeah, but they're vicious as hell.
Yeah, that's how baboons are too. Well, at least OBTs and or I like ornamentals too. Not ornamental baboons, but like Indian ornamentals, Goody sapphires. Like those are Those are my
You know,
favorites.
I just want an old world spider. I've had nothing but new world spiders. I just wanted an old world spider. So that's why I was like, baboon would be cool because why not?
They're
And the
fun.
bright orange that king baboons are
Yeah.
is just nuts.
You would like
But
an
it's like,
OBT too. They're also bright orange. Mine looks
yeah,
like a Cheeto, like a puffy Cheeto, like like the thick ones. That's exactly what
yeah.
mine looks like.
What's the one that's the Trinidad chevron?
Yeah. I don't know. I only
I
know it
forget
as
the scientific
Trinidad
name.
Chevron. Those things are really pretty as well. I'm not really super well nursed on knowledge on like different spider species, but I know a few of them just because from what I've seen at the store and like scrolling through websites and talking to my friends
Well,
that breed them.
I got this Mexican blonde, and I'm like, is it got Mexican blonde doesn't have medically significant venom,
I don't think
so
so.
I should be fine to pick it up. But it's like I don't want to pick it up because I don't want to have that chance.
Yeah, and
So
the worst part is too if they freak out, they're so fast, and if they were to like jump off, like especially because Mexican blondes, to my knowledge, aren't really arboreal, it could do some damage,
yeah, well, yeah, they could fall and
kill themselves.
hurt themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had them with the striking before.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Damn.
I was cleaning out the enclosure and picking it back up and putting him in his enclosure again, and he just kind of ran off my hand and jumped down and split his abdomen. I was
Oh
like, "Oh,
shit.
you're dead."
Yeah, that's one reason I don't like holding New Worlds is because of the hairs. I don't like the do they eat. It's like fiberglass.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. They shoot their hairs out, but I thought all tarantulas did that.
I think they do, but I think New Worlds, from my knowledge, do it more. Hopefully, someone will let us know in the comments that actually knows because I don't
Yeah,
know
right.
for sure. I know
Yeah,
because I know curly hairs and like all the brachypelmas and all that. Them love to flick hairs.
yeah,
And I had a
and
Colombian blue balloon, and she would flick hairs like crazy too.
and then the only other thing I would want is a Goliath birdie,
Yeah, they're cool.
and make sure I get a female this time. Because
That's
the
my
last time I
thing is
bought
I
one,
want to get
I,
females only.
yeah, well, I ordered one. It was $110 back when I was in. I want to say when I was in high school. I ordered it. So it was $110. I was so excited when I picked it up, and like I feed it. The thing was that big,
Holy shit.
like well, legs and all. I mean,
Yeah, that's still a big ass spider though.
so I was feeding it medium and large rats,
Damn.
and come to find out, you just feed them a few hissing cockroaches now, and that's sufficient. But I was like, in Florida, you can't get hissing cockroaches or any big bugs, so you feed them rodents. And I had them for 8 months, and I just walked in one day and dead. I was like, why? But I will tell you, the worst smell I have ever smelled was a partially digested rat from a Goliath bird.
Yeah. I did a carcass feeding kind of on my old blue tail. I got a large rat. It was frozen, and I cut it in like to 3 pieces. Why did I cut it into 3 pieces? Because I didn't think my blue tail monitor would be able to rip it up. Not being a smart person and thinking that they could just tear it apart like they do naturally. Oh, it was the worst smell ever. Like it was. I know the smell. It's disgusting.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It wasn't like envenomated and
Yeah, that's
digested.
true. That's true.
With the venom.
It was just frozen and started rotting and thawing.
Yeah, like that's different. Or like why people cut up rodents? It's killer. Like
Yeah, I will never do it again after that experience.
no, and like that's one of the reasons why I really hate to feed rodents.
Yeah, that's a
Hell,
good reason.
I want you to go buy rats. I was going to buy some rats today. 25 small rats for $70.
Holy fuck!
I'm like, hi. I said, this makes me hurt. Like when I look at this.
What is it?
And
That's $2.80 a piece for a small rat.
which isn't terrible, I guess.
Yeah, nowadays, but like, shit. Overall, that's awful.
Yeah, well, and I mean, hell, I went to the local pet store on my side of the mountain over here, and I was like, I need to feed this ball python. Let me just go get a rat. And I was like, hey, I need a small rat. $9 for a small rat.
Oh
I was
my
like,
god,
what?
that's outrageous. I think we charge $9 for a large rat at my store.
Yeah.
Like 11 or 12 for jumbos.
Yeah, but at least you guys have mice on ice, and that's like a well-known.
I meant with the reptile store. With PetSmart, it's outrageous. It's something crazy like that as well. Mice on ice is expensive.
Yeah, but it's like I'm gonna just do an order with Cold-Blooded Cafe. I mean, I think they were like $56 or $60 for. I mean, it averaged out to like $2.10 a small rat.
That's not bad.
I was like, I'm gonna go through them, and even if one of these doesn't eat, like a ball python doesn't eat, it's not like I don't have monitors to go feed the rats. I mean, not that I like doing that, but they'll eat it.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. You can't just let the rat go to waste. You gotta feed it off eventually. I had a couple of snakes and lizards that I would just garbage disposals.
And you know, that was always my concern with getting any ball python, period, was how finicky they are about eating things. They don't eat. You put it in there, you leave it in there for a day, say a day.
Mm-hmm.
Anything longer than that, it's going to be rancid.
Yeah.
Nope. So I didn't have, before I lived out here, I didn't really have anything to be that garbage disposal.
Mm-hmm.
And like before, when I lived in Florida, I had my garbage disposal animals. I had my carpet python that would always eat.
That was one of the snakes I had, was a carpet.
And I hate to admit it, but my Savannah monitor was garbage disposal. If something didn't eat a rat, here you go. Mm-hmm. But again, it was not knowing any better. But that thing lived for like 6 years.
Damn.
So it was fine. But I also exercised it regularly with crickets, and to watch a 2-foot Savannah monitor go and chase down 100 crickets was hilarious. So, but anyway, so the main thing we wanted to talk about, I think, today was
Florida.
Our Florida trip that we're planning. And what's funny is yours is a little bit more extensive than mine.
Yeah.
I mean, mine is, I'm going down to see family, stay with family. But the big thing we're going to do is,
I'm so excited.
Jasmine invited us down to go hang out, and so we're going down to Zoo Tampa in October 1st is when we're going, right?
Yeah, the 1st.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to meet us at Zoo Tampa, we'll be there October 1st. I doubt we have fans like that, but you never know.
I mean, you know, it was actually kind of funny. I was talking about the podcast at the reptile show today, and they're like, I totally saw you on the podcast. I was like,
what? That's so cool.
Whoa. Well, that's funny. And I mean, knowing some people in the game and going up there, and Chris knows quite a bit of people. And so the guy that runs the Repticon show, I walk in there and I'm like, I'm going to buy my ticket, and he goes, you're not really buying a ticket, are you? I was like, well, yeah. He's like, just walk in. I'm like, okay. And then I came back later on the day because Chris was like, hey, come meet me. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I walk in there and they're like, hey, you know him? I knew you from somewhere. I was like, I don't recognize you at all. But yeah, it was definitely really awesome to see somebody go, wait, you're from that podcast. I was like, wait, you know my podcast.
That's kind of crazy, dude. That's gotta be an insane feeling. Because like, it's not like we're not that big or anything. We're not even big. I'm not even gonna say that big. We're not big at all. So that's
No,
really
no.
cool.
But it was just, yeah, I've seen you guys on YouTube. Because he was like, I was talking about the podcast, and I was like, he goes, you have a podcast? I was like, yeah. He goes, oh, well, what do you... This was the guy that had that tokay that I showed you earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oh, yeah, I have I'll do the Skunk Ape podcast. And he goes, that's why you look familiar. I was like, yeah, that's why I look familiar.
That's cool.
So, yeah, that was definitely a highlight. So, yeah, I mean, if you guys are in the Tampa Bay area, come down October 1st. We're going to go hang out at Zoo Tampa.
And I think we're going... I know I am. I don't know if you're tagging along, but we're going to go to the Florida Aquarium afterwards.
You know...
I think that probably depends on Emmett.
Well, he's a trooper. And by the time you drive from Zoo Tampa down to the Florida Aquarium...
It's only, what, like an hour?
No, it's not even an hour. I mean, it's... I don't know how... I've heard traffic in Tampa now is terrible.
30 minutes to an hour, give or take, with traffic?
30 minutes. I mean, because you're looking at two different spots. But, dude, have you been to Zoo Tampa before?
Yeah, I've been to both the same day before.
I don't know how you think that we're going to go do all these, or try to do some of these animal experiences, and then go to the aquarium after the fact.
We'll play it by ear.
Like, for what you're going to miss out on so much at either one of the places.
You think so? I feel like we could do like half the day at one, half the day at the other.
I guess it just. I mean,
I think it really just depends on how. I think it just depends on what we do at the zoo.
I mean, we're getting to the zoo at 9:00 in the morning. I mean, there's just so much to take in, at least for me, because I don't just sit there and walk by animals. I go and watch them and see what they're doing and all that
Brian,
stuff.
he's gotten big into like photography, so he's going to be sitting there taking photos of pretty much everything. So it's definitely not going to be like a walk through the zoo.
Yeah, you'll never get through it. And then what I really want to do, and I don't know when the last time you were there was, but they have like a tram that you can take through Africa.
I saw that, but we didn't do that. But no, let's definitely do that. That'll be cool. That would be really cool.
And so you sit in this tram thing, and you go through Africa, and then you get stopped by like those. What are those cranes?
The crown cranes.
The crown cranes.
Yeah, African crown cranes. That's a bird I would love to own.
Yeah. There's actually a guy locally that breeds them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that'd be really cool to have those just hanging out at the house. But
I've heard they're mean. Like I've heard they're like, at least the one person I talked to that owns one, his is an asshole. So like it's not like I've talked to a lot of people, but
I don't know. I've never owned one, so I can't tell you. But I gotta believe it's just kind of like those sandhill cranes.
Yeah, they look nice.
Because
at the zoos, they seem friendly.
Yeah, well. But there's a lot of stuff at zoos that seem super friendly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, I don't know.
Bears.
Like the pygmy hippos. The pygmy hippos, they look adorable, they look friendly, and even the hippos in the zoo. You see those hippos in the zoo shows, and you're like, oh, it's such a friendly hippo. I want to go pet the hippo. Nope, not going to happen. Well, and then I was talking to Chaz, about the podcast too. He's the one that runs Repticons, or certain Repticons. And we were talking about how Jasmine was saying how she'd rather work with Komodos than a croc monitor.
Mm-hmm.
And was it no, it was Justin. It was Justin. He goes, because croc monitors are like one of the most intelligent monitors there is.
Yeah.
So these guys remember everything. They think about everything. It's like, you're telling me a damn velociraptor back there? Like,
no, 100%. Look at their skulls, man. Like, that's insane.
Dude, and you can tell because he'll sit there and watch you the whole time you're in there. And it's, the female, he's much prettier than the female. The female kind of just hides in this one little spot all the time. But she's got jet black eyes.
Whoa, that's cool.
And it's like, What are you thinking? What are you? But she's never been aggressive or anything like that. But I don't. I mean,
Do y'all keep them
it's not
together?
Not yet. We're redoing one of the cages to have a bigger water feature in there, and we were talking about doing a different cage, but just because winter's coming, we want to keep them in the main building. So we have one cage that's actually a double of what they're in now,
Okay.
plus a little bit more. And we're gonna try to keep them together. The hard thing is he's about 9 feet.
Wow.
From head, that's head to tail. He's probably about 4.5, 4.5 from nose to vent.
Mm-hmm.
And I would worry about them being together and him being so much larger than her for a long period of time. I mean, they've been together before, and it was not fun separating the two of them.
I can imagine.
I mean, because I don't even know that if I put on the bike gloves and like a full-on leather jacket, if I'd feel comfortable even picking them up.
Yeah, I mean
But,
I feel like they'd go right through those bike gloves.
well, it's those Kevlar ones. You know, the gray Kevlar ones, well, Jasmine uses them in
The Komodo.
the Komodo things.
Yeah.
Same gloves, but no, I just and the bad thing is we have to move them from. So there's an island, basically an island, and we walk around the entire thing. So the cages that they're in are on this side, on this side, right here. Well, the other cage that we want to put them in, you have to walk all the way around the whole thing.
What's in the middle? Like, what's in the island?
Well, the island, like the cages are in the center of the building.
Oh, I see.
So you have to walk around the whole thing, and then we have the croc ponds. Like there's croc ponds across from them, and then various other cages around the perimeter of the building. And Dennis's new cage was supposed to be a bathroom, but they never got the plumbing put in for the bathroom, so it's now a bathroom size, like a half bath size
reptile cage.
Reptile cage, yeah.
That's awesome.
And then there's another cage right next to that we have to rebuild a door on it, and yeah.
Do you all use what kind of doors do you use? Are they see-through doors? Can you?
No, we just use heavy-duty hardware welded wire, coated welded wire.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, we keep the building at 85 degrees year-round, and we have our basking spots and stuff. So the only thing that's the pros and cons to it is we keep the humidity high in the building, and everything seems to thrive in the high humidity.
That's good.
But it's harder to have each individual enclosure in its own climate. If that makes sense. Because there's vents up top,
It makes a lot of sense. It's more ambient heat and humidity. Or more humidity, I should say, not really heat. Because you got
we have pump sprayers to spray everybody down and all that stuff. And really, I mean, there's some things we need to change in there to get everything working right.
Have y'all considered just doing an automatic misting system or rain system, one of the two?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a matter of it's just a matter of getting the timer set up for it. And then do you do the timer on each one? Like do a timer for each one? Or do you do... Because all it is a timer on a valve.
I feel like you just do like a one timer for all the cages, unless you have certain cages you want to mist down like less.
Well,
especially the croc monitors and mangroves, for example. Like those are going to need just as much, like similar water, but maybe the bells don't need as much water. So maybe the bells get a different.
The bells you would mist down every third morning.
Okay.
right? The Celebensis, you'd want to mist down once a day. The mangroves, the crops, you'd want to mist down twice a day,
Mm-hmm.
and then do a heavy rainfall at some points in time.
Yeah.
So ideally, what I would like to do is have basically just a ball valve, like with plumbing, where I can reach up and have water going up through the ceiling. But it's an undertaking, and
Oh, for sure. That's a lot of work.
so, yeah, it's really not as bad because you can actually buy fittings that go into a piece of PVC and just run a piece of PVC. But to have a difference between the mist and a rain, I mean, a mist is just a light floof, whereas if you want to simulate like the monsoon season
Mm-hmm.
for the crop monitors,
Yeah.
You want it to just deluge throughout the entire thing, and then you just basically have a fire sprinkler up top.
So say you do that. So say you do set, or y'all do set up that big rain system, and like you're doing a monsoon, like type season for the croc monitors. How do you like? Do you worry about doing like draining the like extra water that ends up in the bottom of the cage? Like, what do you, or do you have enough substrate where it'll kind of absorb everything? God damn.
I mean, there's a minimum of 12 inches of substrate in every one of those enclosures.
Okay.
So, yeah, you say that until your lace monitor decides not to lay in the lace box or the lay box, and she buries the eggs somewhere in a 12 by 8 floor plan.
Oh, with a
You're
foot
like,
of substrate. That's...
Where'd you dig? Oh, you dug up everything. Where'd you lay?
Do y'all not have cameras in the cages?
We have a camera in the lace cage. I mean, it would be nice to have cameras in all the cages. It's just a matter of getting a bunch of outdoor cameras set up.
Yeah.
And being brutally annoyed by the motion sensor going off all the time, because as soon as you walk by, as soon as one of the lizards moves, it says bells enclosure. Motion detection in bells enclosure.
Yeah. I honestly would just, personally, I would just turn off the motion detector and then turn it on for whatever individual cameras need to be on if some are laying. Like, if I know the bells are going to be laying soon, I'll turn the motion detector on, but other than that, like, leave it off. Would probably be the best way to deal with that. But even then, you're still going to be walking by those cages and the lizards are going to be moving.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I could do my perfect reptile building,
Mm-hmm.
I would. For one, I'd have to have my own separate well for the water.
Yeah.
Especially if I had the reptiles and I could do everything the way it is here, there would be timers set up on calendars, or even do like a thing on my phone, because everything's automated on your phone,
Mm-hmm.
where you can set up, hey, I want to have a rain system that goes on for this much, and then actually put, depending on the substrate that you're using, because if you have like monsoon rain going for 2 hours, that's dumping, I mean,
Gallons.
say you're running, I mean, at a gallon a minute, right? A gallon a minute is like what your faucet runs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not really a monsoon. Monsoon, you're looking at 7 to 10 gallons a minute.
Yeah.
If you leave that running for...
That's like, what, 1,200 gallons if you're doing 10 gallons
if
a
you
minute?
for 2 hours, that's a lot of freaking water that you're pumping through.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you would basically have to have some kind of pond feature there and have everything kind of grade in the pond. But then you're worried about everything going in there, and then you have your overflow so that you can basically, you know how, have you ever seen those ponds where you can pull out the overflow to drain the pond really quick?
Yeah.
And then you put the overflow back in it so you can...
Yeah.
so that you're just filtering that, or once it gets to a certain height. That's probably what I would put in there.
Okay, yeah, that would be make
So
the
that
most
way
sense.
it overflowed. But you'd have so much of that substrate getting washed down into the thing. I mean, the only other thing I might would do is just an actual, like a fogging machine,
That would be cool.
and just have a fogging machine to where it would dump a ton of fog. Because misters are great, but misting doesn't really give that thick layer of humidity that fog does.
Yeah.
Fog goes in there and it'll fill up the entire enclosure, and it'll just be soaked.
Yeah,
Throughout
that would be genius. Actually, I don't know. I don't know many people that use fogging systems for monitors. I mean, there's probably tree monitor guys that do, but I feel like that's definitely something that should be looked into, especially for like croc monitors in the Indicus complex.
Who's that guy that's got? What's he called? Pandora or Pandora? You know what I'm talking about? It has that big, giant bioactive enclosure that has different kind of ants in it, and it's got water bugs in it. And you just put a caiman.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I heard something about like ant something. Yeah, because I heard something about it. I heard some people were raising shit because that caiman was like in way too small of an enclosure, and there's like no water for him. But that's all I even have heard about this guy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't even seen the video people are talking about, so I have no idea if that's even true.
It's like 1,000. It's basically 1,000-gallon pallet area.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, is it the perfect thing for a spec? No. But a spec that's a newborn spec?
Yeah. I wouldn't see why it wouldn't be.
50 gallons of water is plenty for...
Oh, for sure.
A baby spec.
That's plenty of a spec. That's plenty for a spec until it's like a yearling. Year and a half.
Yeah. And then there's plenty of room for him to walk around and stuff.
Yeah, and that's what most caiman people don't do right, is they don't give them enough land area.
Yeah. I mean, hell, I think in our crop tubs that we have now, like my caiman, I never see him out of water. He's always hanging out in water.
Really?
Yeah, but three-quarters of his pond has one of those floating islands on it.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's got plenty of room to walk around.
He probably comes out at night whenever you're not around, because usually that's when they'll walk around at night.
Yeah.
Like I bet if you set up a camera on that pond, you would see him out every night walking around.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I've seen the other crocs get up on him, but never. I mean, I have that picture that actually that's my thumbnail on Discord. That's him sitting up on the island.
Yeah, because I used to be the old podcast profile picture.
Yeah. But yeah, he's cool, and I don't. Everybody that puts crocs and stuff in just a big pond with no way to get out, it's like that's not what.
Yeah,
especially camp do.
Yeah, Daniel and I have been talking about crocodilians in captivity so much recently, just about like how 95% of people do it wrong, and it's crazy. Like I'll edit this name out, but I'll tell you just because. But like, if you go on most recent Facebook and you see that alligator, that thing is fucked up, and I'm like, damn, man. It's got like its teeth are all sideways, its face is deformed, and it's all just from like. As Daniel and I, or mainly Daniel calls it, and I just started calling them as well. They're fucking captive crocodilians. Like when they're in tubs inside, they normally get all like deformed, and you can always tell. It's messed up.
Yeah, so that's one thing. I mean, because I'm still new to crocodilians. I mean, I've seen alligators, I've seen crocodiles, I've seen wild ones, I've seen them in captivity. As far as like Busch Gardens, Zoo Tampa, and various other zoos. Mm-hmm. So like one picture I've seen, and it was a reason why I didn't really want one, and that's why I got it for free. But I got a trig over a Cuvier's because I saw a lot of pictures of the Cuvier's and their teeth were like sideways.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's like that thing turns the wrong way, and I'm getting cut.
Yeah, that's just from straight shitty captivity care. Like that is the only thing that causes.
But there were a ton of them that had that in the pictures on Google and trying to search things, and I'm just like, which one do I want? Which one looks cooler?
Yeah, I will say I think someone will probably roast the fuck out of me on this, but I feel like palps like the Cuvier's, they do have some more jagged teeth, quote unquote. But like when they're sideways, like how you're describing, like they're like this or sideways sticking out of their jaw.
Yeah,
that's just like bending. It's just shitty care, shitty husbandry that causes that.
Hell is on my chin. I scratched my chin.
I didn't even notice anything.
No, I'm sitting here. I'm like, what's on my screen? And I'm like, nope, that's on me because it moves whenever
I got something on my screen and it looks like a lion, and I thought it was on me for the longest time.
But no, I'm really starting to love the crocodilians.
They're awesome,
and they are. They're really cool. I wish I could have gotten my trig from a hatchling, and I probably wish I would have gotten one captive bred.
Mm-hmm.
But the only place I know that captive breeds them, I wouldn't buy from.
You're talking about NERD?
I'm not saying any names, but
half the bitches are not captive bred. I will say
supposedly.
that.
Supposedly.
No, like they definitely do breed some, but majority of them are not.
I mean, I'd see if Daniel bred some, but I don't. I'd probably get one if it wasn't outrageously priced, and I think that's one of the things that
they're
captive bred ones are probably.
Yeah, they're what, like over $1,000 usually?
Are they?
I don't know. I feel like most of the ones I see, they're on Morph Market though. So like Morph Market, you can't really trust crocodilian prices. Like you can, but you can't because not really any. Like some people, like Greg Graziani and Chris Cojones, I think is his last name. They breed. Like they're actual big crocodilian breeders. Or Chris is becoming one. He works with all albino alligators, and they sell on Morph Market. But even then, that's not like their main way of selling. And it seems like everyone else that sells is like just kind of smaller time people. Like the big people that breed crocodilians, they're sold. They're going to zoos and shit before they even consider. Like they're sold before as soon as they hatch.
Yeah, I mean, and then I guess when Morph Market updated their app. Because that's the only place I look at Morph Market. I don't sit there on the computer and scroll Morph Market, even though Morph Market, whoever's in charge of Morph Market, fix your app because it's so much easier to search for exactly what you want on the computer than it is on the app.
The app's a pain in the ass.
But you actually have to search hard for crocodilians on the app.
Yeah, if you go to the top bar, you can search crocodilians, but they have it completely exited out because the owner Darian does not believe crocodilians should be kept in captivity, which for the most part I understand. Like I think that's a good point, but you shouldn't just fucking take them off, quote unquote, your website just because there are responsible keepers out there, and that's kind of.
I mean, if you're gonna say that about crocodilians, then
retics.
I mean, retics, rock python, rock pythons.
Yeah, there's so many other things on there that could also fall into that, and I think
green anaconda, or I mean, if you're really worried about husbandry so much, because that's got to be what it is. It's the husbandry, because who's really got room, the proper room for a 10-foot crocodilian?
Yeah, not many people.
Not many people, and who's capable of truly caring for a 10-foot crocodilian?
Even less people.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing that people don't realize here is we're not an actual facility yet. We're working on becoming a facility. But we have a team of people that actually come out and help us with everything. Like on Saturdays, it's like all hands on. We're coming out. We're doing this.
That's awesome.
And I mean, it's like 3 or 4 people, but at least we have backup in doing whatever we're doing. And we can't have big snakes. But our female doom rules. She likes to. I mean, she's incredibly aggressive when you pull her out of her tote.
Mm-hmm.
And if something happens, you have that other hand because an 8-foot doom rules boa has the potential to outpower you and hurt you.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
There was always that rule that I always lived by. If it's 10 foot long or longer, you have more than one person.
That's a great rule to live by. Like in 100%, and I think I would go to say like definitely the same thing for crocodilians, but I would say over 6 foot, you should really consider having at least 2 people to work with it.
Oh yeah, I mean if you're going in an enclosure, feeding.
Yeah, like going in the enclosure different. And all that.
Yeah, well, just for the second set of eyes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know? And like talking to Chris about our idea for our crocodilian building. It's going to be like 130 plus feet long.
Yeah.
By 60 feet wide.
Oh yeah.
And we're basically going to have like little paths that you can walk through, like weave around the habitats. And then we're also going to have platforms that we can go up onto, where we can do like feeding and different things like that.
Are you gonna have like outdoor areas for them to go out to when the time of the year's right? Because I know Crocodile Encounters in Texas, Chris Dieter, they have a big crocodilian building, and they basically have like basically what you're describing. Like inside, it's a massive building, and inside they have full like big ass ponds and areas for them to bask with lights. But then like when the time of the year's right, they can just open a door, and then they also have access to a big outdoor area and a small pond outside.
Well, that's one of the things we're trying to figure out, and it's what crocodilians will have them, because that's also a lot more like ideally what I would have is like those gates like they have for dolphins and stuff, to where you slide that gate open and they can go out underneath. But the problem with something like that is that makes it so the water outside is getting cold, so that chills off the water inside.
Yeah.
So there's a few different things, because then you have to have 2 different sets of pumps and stuff. So you have your interior pumps, you have your exterior pumps. And then there's also, and this is more of my thought behind things, because it's like I have this really cool idea to do a trig pond and a Cuvier's pond outside at my house, because I have this one spot that's just like a swampy area where it drains all out down there. So I was like, well, I could do if I did like a 6 or 8 foot pond, and I did a 6 foot pond, a 6 foot deep pond here, 6 foot deep pond here, I could run a stream between the two, and then have the gates or fencing go down below the water line, and have the coated fencing, so that there was a stream that went through the two. But with the hormones and different pheromones that the different crocodilians put off,
I think you'd be fine.
Is it going to affect them? Will it not affect them? Well, how do I pump the water? I was going to have a centralized basin to where it comes in through that, where they kind of funnel down into the center, and then have 2 little streams that pumps out and pumps out and around. So I'd have a stream that goes in between the 2 ponds, and then a basin down at the bottom of the center, and then have it pump out to another like stream, creek kind of thing, where it goes down around the outside.
I'll have to show you. Have you seen, as much as I'm not a big fan of them, have you seen Kent Kinnon's Cayman Creek?
that's kind of where I got the idea
Yeah,
from.
because his just runs through, and like I know plenty of zoos that use the same water for all their crocodilians, and I don't think it affects anything. I haven't heard
I mean,
anything about affecting anything. Knowing my luck, Daniel's going to text me after watching this and be like, "You're a fucking dumbass." It does.
yeah, I mean, and that's one of the things that's going through my head is because I know all these animals produce different pheromone levels, especially if you have male crocodilians. And that's the other thing of having what's our goal? What are we going to be doing? Are we going to be breeding things? I don't think we're going to breed any large crocodilians. I don't think that's the plan. The only thing large that we might potentially breed would be American alligators. But part of that is we want to have a farming. We have to have a farming permit here for American alligators. So that's one of the things we're looking at doing, so we can get some albino alligators and things like that. But that's probably the only one. And then you can keep American alligators outside year round here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they live there.
Well, they're actually invasive this far north.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's one of the big reasons why we can't have them is there's so many of them up in the Tennessee River now that it's becoming a problem. But I mean, that would be cool. And then the Chinese alligators, those could be outside year round. So there are some that we'd be.
Can y'all get those without a permit?
We'd have to have permits for those.
For the Chinese?
The Chinese.
Really?
Or the Americans, I think Chinese, you have to have they have to come in on loan. I don't know enough about the crocodilians.
Huh.
I know that a lot of the crocodilians are all loan animals.
I don't. God, I'm probably gonna get roasted. I don't think Chinese alligators have to be on loan.
Yeah,
But I could be wrong.
And I don't know. That's why I speak my ignorance 100% when it comes to crocodilians. Yeah. I know that there's few that we are legally allowed to have without having them on loan. Caimans are one of them. I mean, we can have specks, we can have blacks, we can have... No, we can't have blacks.
Yeah, I was about to say, you can't have black.
We can have specks, we can have broad snouts.
Yukare.
Yeah,
you can have Yukare, but good luck finding one in the private side.
Yeah. Because I think it just says caimans are legal. So caimans are legal, so we could have blacks. But
yeah, I mean, you definitely could have blacks, but they're one of those, like, only 3 facilities in the country have them. Maybe 4.
Yeah.
2 of them being in Florida, Zoo Miami and the St. Augustine Alligator Farm. And they're just... And no one in the country has males. Actually, Zoo Miami might have 1 male. But no one's breeding them. No one's bred them in the U.S.
What amazed me about crocodilians, too, is I didn't realize... I mean, growing up in Florida, you see American alligators. Well, for one, American alligators are huge reptilians.
Yeah.
They're
get
massive.
big.
And what's the record for the largest, like, in length alligator? I think is 15 feet.
Yeah, it's 15.
Maybe
I think.
16.
Yeah.
But it also weighs 2,000 pounds or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, and I guess that's the other intriguing part about it is, so an American alligator is a very large animal. Yeah. But I didn't realize that a Nile crocodile only got 16 feet long.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. They don't get that big. So many people get pissed when you tell them the truth that Niles and Salties don't get as big as you think. There are cases of them getting 17. I'd say they average around 16 to 17 feet, but they can get bigger. Like, they definitely can get bigger, but finding one that is truly over 18 foot is near impossible, especially nowadays.
Well, Salties, I know Salties in the wild can get big.
Like, yeah, the same thing with Salties. I would say I would say they average around 16 to 18 feet. But finding
in
one over
captivity or wild.
both, like captivity less, but they can get bigger. But
Really?
finding a salty that is truly over 19 foot is hard. It is hard to do.
Yeah.
They're out there, but it's hard to do. I'm in a lot of groups, and people will claim to see 20, 25 foot salties all the time. But then when you actually go and like you have someone go and find that individual and they measure it, and most of the time it's like 17 foot. Not that that's not a giant crocodile. Like that is huge. They're fucking massive. Like if you go to the alligator farm, St. Augustine Alligator Farm, Maximo, I want to say he was officially officially measured at like 15.2, maybe bigger, maybe a little bit bigger. But I would say he's probably closer to the 16-foot range now. But he looks like a fucking 20-foot salty, especially when I can.
And how much does he weigh?
Oh, I can't.
2,500 pounds.
Yeah, maybe more. To be honest, he is so thick. It is crazy.
But what really amazed me is that I thought north or in the Americas that the American crocodile was actually the biggest.
It's second biggest.
And I think because isn't black caimans are bigger than Americans, right?
No. The biggest would be the biggest in the Americas would be Orinoco crocodiles. It'd be Orinicos, American crocs, black caiman, and then American alligators. It would be the biggest.
And that was what shocked me is black were bigger than American alligators.
Yeah, I'll have to send you a video after this podcast, dude. The kid Joy that you messaged me, was like, who's this black caiman guy that's always liking our stuff? He posted this video, and the caiman's name is Honcho or Juancho, however you want to pronounce it. It starts with a J. Dude, it comes out of the guy calls it out of the water because it's in captivity. Calls it out of the water to feed it. It is like a dinosaur, Chad. It is unbelievable how big this thing is. It had my mind blown. I thought it was like fake. I thought it was a fake video. Its head emerges, and its head is just like it's wide. It's crazy. Black caiman get a lot bigger than I realized because like at the alligator farm, there's the two females there. They're good size. They're like 13 foot. I'd say the one is at least 12, 13 feet. I think the other one's a little bit smaller. But that's a big caiman, and like you can obviously go like, oh, obviously it's the largest caiman species. But like when you see some of these like big ones in the wild, it's kind of crazy.
And which one's the Orinoco?
It looks very similar to American. It just gets bigger. I can try and pull up a picture. They're sick.
What's that one? That is the false gharial that Jasmine's got down there.
Yeah, the Tomastoma.
Yeah, because that thing's impressive.
Yeah, and they get massive. Let me pull up a picture real quick. They get huge, dude.
Because which one's the slender snout?
It's in Africa. It's a West African or Central African slender snout. There's two species.
Because those are pretty cool. And then West African dwarfs are really cool.
Dude, look at this. This is a false gharial. I don't know if you can see. That's massive. Or that one.
Well, hell, Jasmine next to the one that she posted the picture of
that's way too low.
Was huge.
Yeah, she said hers was 11.5 foot. Oh my gosh, it won't load. I tried.
You tried.
They get huge. Them and Orinocos, I recently, like within the past year, realized how big Orinocos and Tomastoma get, and it's mind blowing. It's crazy. This is an Orinoco, by the way. God damn it. It's damn brightness.
Okay.
know if you can see that or not.
I'm looking them up right now.
There you go, viewers. That's an Orinoco crocodile. I actually almost got that one tattooed on me instead of the New Guinea. It was really hard to choose between the two because those are one of my favorite species.
What I will, and I'll definitely give props to anybody that knows their crocodilians, because to be able to look at some of these and say, oh yeah, that's this, and this is that, and this is this. I mean, there's what, 23 species?
I think 24 now. I don't know. It keeps
24.
going up. It keeps going up and up.
Yeah. So there's 20 some odd species of crocodilians, and I am just now starting to be able to differentiate, like, this is a Nile, this is a Salty, but it's like I think you even did that test for us. Hey, can you guess what all these are?
Yeah.
And it's like, no idea. I know this one's a Salty, I know that this one's this, but I can't. Like, if somebody showed me an Orinoco versus an American or a Freshie, I can't. I mean, I know their snouts are a little bit different, and the scoots are a little bit different. But I will say that the most impressive thing between all the crocodilians, at least the ones that I've had the opportunity to be around, crocodiles are a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking to Justin last night, and it's like, American alligators are like a Labrador retriever, and crocodiles are Belgian Malinois.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
The Morlets that we have, first off, he's grown probably 8 or 9 inches this summer.
Fuck yeah, that's a good
being
thing.
Outside and all that stuff. And I mean, he's gotten huge, and now he's almost to the point where he can jump out of the 500 gallon
Fuck yeah.
stock tank that he's in.
Yeah, that's one thing. One thing that people don't realize is how different crocodiles versus alligators are attitude wise. Like, it's different.
Forget the attitude. I'm just talking about the sheer agility.
Yeah, and then just intensity, just in power and strength. It's nuts. Like, I feel like I personally could jump a 5 or 6 foot alligator by myself or with 2 people, but a 5 or 6 foot crocodilian, I don't know about that one. That one's a little different. I don't think I could do that by myself.
No, I mean, I'm not looking forward to moving the big Morlets inside, and he's less than 4 foot. But I mean, his head is probably, I'd say, probably 5 to 6 inches from snout to the back of his head.
Damn.
And that would be a vicious bite.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then we had the bright idea of, we're going to put water lettuce out here to help filter out his.
Oh, now you can't even see him, huh?
His water. Dude, he'll go out there and he'll just watch, and I'll open up the cover that we have on there, and now it's to keep him in, but before it was to make sure that nobody got in there.
Yeah.
Now it's to keep him in, but we have like the stuff on it, and it's secure. But I'll walk up there and you can just see his eyes, and it's just the tip of his snout, and you're looking around for him, and you see all the water lettuce, and you just see him, and you're like, and then you go to touch the thing, and then you just see him dip down, and then all of a sudden pops up right in front of it, and you're like, yeah, you're gonna try to kill me. And then the bad thing is the top of the pond is right at your groin level.
Oh.
And he jumps up right to the top of it, and you're like,
he's gonna bite your balls off, dude.
Low hanging fruit, man. I wish that my camera would focus better.
Yeah, it's crocodiles they're different. They're a different being for sure. I know Daniel Daniel's obsessed with Cubans. We've talked about that multiple times. So he likes the crazy shit. But they also have Philippines. And Philippine crocodiles, if you don't know, are they're either the worst attitude crocodile by far. I would rather deal with the Cuban crocodile than deal with the Philippine crocodile. Like, Philippines are little fucking dickheads. Same with Siamese crocodiles. They're assholes.
I was going to say, I thought Siamese were the worst of all of them.
I would say Philippines are the worst. Siamese are up there as well. Like, the top three are definitely Philippine, Siamese, and Cubans for sure. But and like they're little. Like, not like Philippines are pretty little. They're not gonna get that big, and they'll make you run for your money. Same with Cubans. They don't necessarily get that big either. Like, they get big, but like they're not getting like 13, 15 feet.
No, I thought Cubans only got like 9 to 10.
Yeah, and like a 10-foot Cuban is massive.
Yeah, but the Siamese, the only thing I know about the Siamese and the Philippine crocs is those are the ones that they use. You see all the crazy videos of the little Asian guys in there, and they're wrestling these crocodiles, and they're getting bit by them. I'm like,
the cool thing about the Siamese is when you breed, like, a lot of people use Siamese to make hybrids with salties because they make the largest crocodiles. Like, the largest crocodile on the planet, Uton, however you pronounce it, he's a golden salty. He's a hybrid between the Siamese and the salties.
Oh, wow.
And they're called golden salties, the hybrids, because they get like a golden color. I don't know what it is, because for the most part they're both kind of darkish animals. Like, they're both pretty dark for the most part, I'd say.
Yeah. And I guess, like, I mean, we grew up in Florida, so alligator wrestling is a big deal, right? And you watch some of these people that do what they do with alligators, and you're like, that's pretty impressive. And then you look at, like, what Steve Irwin did with salties, and you're like, it's an all newfound respect after dealing with these different animals. Like,
a lot of people, that's the thing I realize. A lot of people see it through the television or YouTube screen and think they can do it, or get this assumption about crocodiles and alligators. But like, until you have like hands-on experience, you have no idea what you're dealing with and no idea what you're doing, because it is a lot different than what you see online.
and you know, I mean, I still have this. I have a fear of losing a body part, whether it be a finger or, I mean, it's not irrational, but it's irrational, kind of. Or getting a bad bite. So it's like, I've grabbed a couple of the crocodilians, but it was one of those things. Don't hesitate. Fast hands or no hands. And, I mean, granted, the biggest one we have is 4 feet long, or pushing 4 feet, maybe a little over 4 feet. I don't know how big Morlet's is, because we haven't pulled them out in a while. But I've seen Chris get bit by the dwarf caiman, and it's a bad bite.
Yeah.
That trig, bad bite. And he's only 2 feet long. So, it's like, fast hands or no hands. Okay, but don't hesitate. And I'm like, I just saw what happened to you. How? Fast hands? What?
Yeah, this is something I probably don't talk about. This is a fucked up thing, and I probably shouldn't have this mindset. But when I was little, like, I developed this mindset, like, when I was little. Like, probably, like, 10, or around that age of 10. That I was, like, I've just, in my head, like, I know it's gonna happen. Like, I just know it's gonna happen. I don't want it to happen, but I know I'm losing a finger. Like, it's gonna happen eventually in my life, because I know I want to work with crocodiles. I know I want to do venomous work. Like, it's bound to happen. So, like, I accepted that at such a young age that, like, honestly, I don't give a fuck about a bite. Like, I really, like, there's definitely bites where I'm like, like a big crocodilian. It's like, I don't want to get bit by a big crocodilian. But I don't have the fear per se, like, that's gonna make me not want to do anything with them. I already have the mindset, like, well, it's gonna happen eventually. If it happens this time, it happens. Like, I know it's probably like 2-3 years ago, I got my first quote unquote bad alligator bite, and it was not bad at all. It was like a 3, maybe 4 foot alligator, and he clamped down right here on my finger, and I didn't even notice actually. I was holding it. I caught him out of a pool at the apartment complex I worked at, and so I literally felt like the Gator Boys, man. I went in the pool and swam with this alligator and grabbed him out. It was so epic. But I get him out and I'm holding him, and no one has fucking tape, and so I'm just holding this alligator, mouth open, like making sure no one's like near and can get bit, but like kind of just showing it off to all my coworkers and the few residents that lived around, like, you know, giving them little facts about them. And the motherfucker just clamped onto me. I didn't even notice. I was mid talking, and my coworker goes, "Is it biting you?" And I look down. I'm like, "Oh shit! I just got bit." Like, I don't know how I didn't realize it, but what made my heart beat was it started to roll. And it's not a big alligator, so like I knew it wasn't going to do damage, but it has the tip of my finger in its mouth, and I knew if it rolled, I was like, "Oh, this could be bad." And luckily, like when it rolled like, I don't know, it, like as soon it even like 180, and my finger slipped out of its mouth. But I was like, "Oh, thank God!" Like, it was super easy. It wasn't bad at all. But that was the only moment I was like, I literally in my head, I'm like, "Damn, I'm about to lose the tip of my finger right now. Like it's happening this early with this tiny of a little crocodile. Here goes the tip of my finger. I'd already accepted it and everything. I was like, well." And then I looked down and my finger was okay, just a little bit of blood. And I was like, "Oh, we're good. Still got it. All 10 fingers."
Yeah, and I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like, don't hesitate. This thing can hurt me badly, and it's like, don't hesitate. Just do it.
Yep.
Just do it. Because as soon as you hesitate, and it's true, as soon as you hesitate,
you're fucked.
They're going to get you.
Mm-hmm. Every single time. Every time you hesitate, they're going to get you.
I mean, I'll sit there and I'll go, okay, now, and it's like just kind of getting up that adrenaline so that you know, okay, it's time to grab it. Let's go.
Mm.
But now I don't think I would have an issue with. I really don't think I would have an issue with an alligator.
Yeah,
like,
dude. Yeah.
They're just kind of slow. Like caimans are fast, and I wonder if it really is true that they have an extra vertebrae in their neck.
They do. That's true.
So
I don't know. I think it's only with. Don't quote me on this. I am probably wrong, but I think it's only trigs, palps, and specks that have the extra vertebrae. Because I don't think broadies have it, and I don't think black caiman have it.
Yeah,
but I could be wrong.
I mean, he can whip around real quick. And now you talk to my son about it, and it's like, how do you hold a crocodilian? Right behind the head, and you hold him in the back. You always use 2 hands, because if you don't use 2 hands, you're losing a finger.
Yeah.
I'm like, smart kid. Smart kid.
Yeah, he's learning the right way.
But we have that little yellow, high yellow morlets.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's what they are. And just completely chill.
Oh, that's nice.
Like, completely chill. I mean, he's only a little over a foot long, but completely chill. Like, go in there and grab him. He doesn't even try to bite you. And it's like, what are you going to be when you grow up? Because you are way too chill right now.
Hopefully you stay chill.
Yeah, right? And like the trig, he'll sit there and he's kind of shy and all that stuff. But when you pull him out, he's hissing at you. He's trying to get away and stuff. And that's kind of the downfall with these floating islands that we have, is they go under there, and you have to pick up the island and pull it out. Well, how do you pick up the island? You put your fingers up underneath the island and pick it out. And you heard my horror story with that one croc that we have in there, and it was like, I have to pull this island out. And there's a crocodile under there. I gotta make sure this thing's okay. And honestly, that was only my second instance where I have reached my hand in water and gotten electrocuted.
Oh damn!
And there's no damage to the pump, no damage to the wire, no damage to anything. And I was like, what happened here?
I've had it happen a couple of times, but like a couple of months ago, I had it happen with one of my turtle ponds. I didn't have any turtles in it, but like I reached my hand in there and I was getting like shocked.
Yeah,
Like,
zap.
there's no filtration on that pond. There's literally nothing but like plants and everything. So I didn't know what the fuck was happening because there's nothing electrical leading to that pond.
And the only thing that I've ever had that happen with is a heater in a fish tank.
Yeah, that's where I've mainly had it happen is heaters. Heaters malfunction.
And it's like, what's going on? And I checked both filters that were in there, and I ended up pulling both of them out. And it was one of those little turtle, the turtle pumps.
Yeah.
The all-in-one kind of thing with the big wand on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it was doing it. And I'm like,
huh.
And if it gave me a shock of what it gave me, I was like, what is it going to do to this crocodile? Like, did it mess up his senses or anything like that? And it turned out it didn't, but it was definitely one of those. He's probably angry right now because I just moved his entire
everything,
life, everything, pulled all the filters out, and then I'm going to go grab this guy to say, hey, are you okay? And then it was like, big snake hook, reach up underneath him. Oh, he's good. He's active. He's alert. But it was definitely weird when. Were you on the phone with me when? Or no, I was on the phone with Chris.
No, yeah.
I pulled him up towards the top of the water, and I was like, he's not doing anything. And then all of a sudden, I pulled him up just a little bit more, and it was like, I'm like, okay, you're good. You're good. I'm sure you're alone now. But I think next year for the summertime, we're going to have all outdoor ponds set up for the crocodilians. So we'll really see a huge growth or a huge spike in growth for
now.
them.
How many months are they indoors versus outdoors?
They'll probably, all of them are indoors right now, except for the morlets, the big morlets. But typically October is when they go inside, October, November.
Mm-hmm.
Once it starts to get down in the 50s at night, we'll bring them in. So actually it's actually going to be a colder week this week.
No way. It's getting in the 50s for y'all now?
It's the low tonight's 58.
What? Okay, let me check the low for us here, because I might be tripping. Weather. Yeah, the low tonight is 75.
It's 68 degrees right now at the house, and the low is 58.
What? What is it? Wait, what is the temperature for you like during the day? Like mid-afternoon, what's the hottest?
I mean, today it only got to 84. Tomorrow's getting to 88, but it's dropping down to 59. And then Tuesday it's saying it's going to be 91, but then dropping down to 64. But next week we're in the 70s, pretty much all week.
Wow, look at perfect weather. It's like scorching hot and hella humid because it's pouring every day here.
Well, you're the one that wants to stay in Florida. You don't want to move to Alabama because
you all have like gay laws. Like I can't even have American alligators or American crocs. At least here, all I have to do is get a permit.
All you have to do is get a license for a farming.
Yeah, but then then I'm required to breed a certain amount and all this.
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, damn. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't see myself ever leaving Florida, but maybe.
I didn't ever see myself leaving Florida.
Honestly, the biggest thing for me is what you just mentioned, is the weather. I want to be able to keep out my shit outside pretty much year-round.
I mean, but then again, it still drops down into the 30s in Florida, too.
Yeah, but, like, with those drops, you can lock them in a heat box. Like, for the monitors, lock them in a heat box and open it up in the morning, and they're fine.
Ask Slinky about that one.
Oh, I'm not. I would lock them in the thing. Kenan just left them so he can go in and out. He now locks them in.
Yeah.
That's how Slinky is right now.
Yeah.
He gets locked in. You got to be smart with your heat hides. You can't have it how a lot of people have it where they can choose to go in and out. I wouldn't let them have that option. They're staying in.
Well, So one of my ideas is we have like a cat condo outside
Mm-hmm.
at the back of the house. I don't have cats, but I was thinking about redoing the cat condo outside and rebuilding it and making it a little bit bigger, and then building a big indoor enclosure for like a water monitor or my favorite monitor, which I kick myself for not getting today when I had the opportunity. Uh, but to have it to where they have a little ramp that they can get down and climb down on logs and stuff, so they can actually go outside in the summertime.
That'd be cool.
And then come back inside at night. Just a matter of, monitors are smart enough. I should be able to train them to do that. But
Yeah, usually you don't even have to train them. You just give them the option and they'll do it.
Yeah.
I had Dennis and Danny were in a catio.
Room, so no.
How big is it?
What's that?
The like, little cat condo thingy.
The cat condo is 4 by 8 by 8 foot tall.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. So then everything else is in my laundry room. So if I did it the right way, and redid my laundry room, I could actually move my washer and dryer, or move the washing machine on the other side of the dryer. Just figure out, make longer hoses for everything, and or move my dryer down and just move everything down a little bit, just because I have enough space in there to put quite literally 2 washing machines and 2 dryers in my laundry room.
Mm-hmm.
So I could do another 4 by 8 by 8 enclosure in there and just have the window, open it up. But the problem is I want to have like a little tunnel to go through, so I can have a slide on the outside of the cage, kind of crawl through and go out there. So that way I can open the window, I can shut the window. And
there's a guy down here in Florida. His name's Alex. I'll send you the video. He basically has the same thing, but his is just like the sliding thing that you're talking about is just a window. He just opens and closes the window, and his little Asian water monitor goes in and out from outside. It's a genius idea. Honestly, I would love to do something like that, but I think I'd rather just have full outdoor cages.
Yeah. Sorry, the dogs are outside and they're barking, and it's like, I wonder what wild critter is outside right now.
Probably a raccoon.
Could be, or a coyote. I'd hate to be a coyote out there, because those dogs will hop the fence and kill the coyote. Or they're barking at the big sulcata.
Damn.
But
I don't know where I was going.
I don't know. There's so many cool things. Like, I'd really love to get the crop monitors to breed. And if I did an indoor enclosure, or that indoor-outdoor thing, I think it would be really cool to have a big crop monitor.
Yeah, I think that'd be sweet.
I still have that, hey, you have this respect for the crop monitors and stuff. And I want something that's going to be big and I can handle. And that's the rough part with a Nile or a...
Why don't you look into... I feel like you're like a white throat and black throat kind of guy. Why don't you ever consider getting one of them?
I have. I mean, they're cool, but they're not me enough, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, like that makes complete sense. That's how I feel about like a lot of monitors.
I mean, like, I don't know. I think that size-wise, black throats are awesome. White throats, I mean, they're all gorgeous animals. They have that big knobby head.
Yeah. Well, you like savannas, right?
I do. I like savannas a lot. So that rock monitor look is really cool. But no, they don't do it for me. I don't think they have the intelligence level as the Asian species or the Australian species. So that's kind of where I'm at with everything. And like I said, I go in there and I've like bonded to the big crop monitor, like I have personally, it's like I'm just so in awe by you. I know you don't like me in any way, shape, or form, but I want you to like me, and I want you to be my friend. And like, there's times where I'll go out there and he'll come out and he'll like, if I go out there, he'll walk right up to me and look at the cage, mount the cage, and then I walk up to the cage and he'll stand there for a second, and then I'll do like the whole dog thing where you go like this, and he'll flick his tongue out and then he just hisses and walks away.
With due time. With due time.
What was that?
I said with due time he'll warm up to you.
Yeah, well, it's been over a year, and honestly, I haven't spent as much time with him until after we talked with Nick,
mm-hmm.
and it was like, I'm gonna break this lizard one way or another, and it's just, I'll feed you good, just don't eat me, don't eat me, we'll be friends. And I mean, he's just, I don't know, there's just, you can tell his mind's working,
mm-hmm.
and it definitely seems like that scene in Jurassic Park where he's out trying to hunt the velociraptors,
yeah.
and then the other one comes up and he's like, "Never girl," and I'm like, this guy's planning everything,
mm-hmm.
knowing what I'm doing, what I'm going to do, and it's an eerie feeling, but you know that he's like planning something.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
And like, if you turn around just the slightest bit in his enclosure, like I walk in facing him and I walk out facing him, just so that I don't turn my back to him, and he knows that I'm a little.
Oh, imagine he jumps onto your back. You'd be fucked.
Yeah, no, and I don't want to see him jump. But like, I like our big Bell's lace monitor, but he doesn't scare me. He's strong, but he doesn't scare me. You know, and he's probably 30 or 40 pounds.
God
so
damn.
He's probably as heavy. He's probably as heavy as the crop monitor.
Holy shit, you're 30, 40 pounds?
I would say he's probably about that.
Oh my god. That's massive, dude.
He's a 7-foot lizard, the big bells.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't weighed him. He might. I mean, who knows? He could be 25 pounds. But I know when I hold him, he's a big.
Damn.
But I can hold the bells, and I'm not worried about him biting me so much. Like, mm-hmm. I don't put gloves on every time I hold him. But I'll reach in there and I'll pet him and stuff like that. But I don't do that with a crop monitor because it's like we don't have that relationship yet.
Maybe with the new one, I'll cut that out if I'm not allowed to say that. But maybe you'll be able to work with them.
Yeah. And then one of the other things that I've been debating on is getting one of those the spiny neck monitors.
The spinulosus.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are cool.
And I'm like, they're pretty cool. Do I get one? Do I not get one?
They're very mangrove-like. Like they're. Yeah, I'm surprised they're not in the Indicus complex.
But they have more of that color and pattern of the crop monitors.
Yeah.
So they're super cool. They don't have that head shape. And the other thing, I don't think I've seen too many of, and today was the first time I really saw one up close, was I saw that Boreanus today. And I was like, I could see why Gavin's so enthralled with it. Yeah, it was just a really cool lizard. But
and you saw babies, man. Like, wait till I wish I still had mine, because if I had mine, you would love these things. They are. I
mean, this one was 2 feet long, so he wasn't baby.
Yeah, that's still good size. Mine were like, I know my male was like 3.5, 4 foot, and my female was 5.5, 6 foot. She was big.
Wow, yeah, that's a big one.
And they are just. If you like croc monitors, I can't see how you don't like blue tails. In my honest opinion, they're smaller. The only difference really. Well, there's a lot of differences, but like they're just mini croc monitors. they're like 5. They get like 5, 6 foot, maybe 7 if you got a massive one. They have very, very similar head shapes. their teeth are damn near the same size as croc monitors. They have massive teeth. They're crazy. They're cool, and they, in my opinion, this is really just a personal opinion on what colors you like. I think they're prettier just because they have the 3 or 4 different colors that they can get, whereas croc monitors usually are like green, yellow, and black, which is a cool combination. I think croc monitors are absolutely gorgeous, but when you put when you add blue into the mix, blue is a really pretty color in animals.
No, I mean it was a really pretty lizard, but I mean I don't know. There's different strokes for different folks. Everything.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know, like I'm not gonna knock anybody for liking black throats or white throats. I mean I have a love for black throats and white throats, but like I said, the intelligence level. I mean that head shape. And I think that's the biggest reason why I like Niles so much is you kind of get that big bulky head of the African monitors, but you get that Asian water monitor body style.
Yeah.
So they're just like, I mean, in my personal opinion, I think they're probably one of the coolest looking big monitors.
Yeah, I can see that. That's a valid opinion, especially like when you look at like the ornates and stuff. Even just like there's some normal Niles, man, that are just crazy pretty, and I'm a person that doesn't really like Niles, so like that's definitely. I think every monitor, say probably about every reptile, but I think every monitor species especially has the capability of being absolutely stunning. You just have to find nice quality ones and raise them right.
I mean, I guess that's the other thing I like about monitors so much more than like what bearded dragons are the same as the what family are they in?
Pagona.
Are they?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have the toad. What is it? The toad-head ones?
No, the toad-headed agamas. Those aren't related. Like they're all agamids, but they're not in the same family. Or same genus, I should say.
They're all agamids.
Yeah, but like almost every lizard it's either an agamid, an iguanid, or a varanid.
Right. Well, I guess I'm saying that aside from, I think iguanas have a lot of cool animals throughout them.
Mm-hmm.
Agamids, I mean, there's a few that are cool.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. I'm the same way. They're not. Yeah.
I mean,
varanids and iguanids all the way.
Yeah, I mean, varanids are. I mean, there's something for everyone in varanids.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, you want your terrestrial, you want your boreal, you want your aquatic, you want semi-aquatic.
You want big, you want small.
Yeah, it really touches everything. And then there's the in-betweens, you know, like your Quince monitors and your Timor monitors. You know, they're not huge, but they kind of are jack of all trades kind of thing. But, I mean, like, you know I love my Uromastics, but Uromastics are kind of bleh. They're bleh.
Yeah, there's like, they're bleh, 100%. But there's definitely, I'm not knocking Uromastics, because there's some sick species out there. But compared to monitors, yeah. That's one reason why I love the Indicus complex so much, is because they're all of my favorite things. I love arboreal shit, and I love aquatic shit. And the Indicus complex is both. They're both highly arboreal and highly aquatic. So it's like, for me, it's the perfect world for me. Whereas if there's somebody that doesn't like dealing with water and doesn't like dealing with arboreal shit, go get an Aki, or go get a Kimberly Rock, or go get some of these Australian dwarf monitors, and like
go get an Argus monitor.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's literally things for everyone, and that's one thing that
go get a black throat, white throat, savannas. I mean, they're all. terrestrial don't really. I mean, they'll still climb from time to time.
And that's why I'm like, I'm not really big into Asian water monitors, is because they just get too big for me. Like, not that I can't handle a monitor that size. I've worked with them plenty, that size. It's just I'd rather not. Like, I personally, like, personal keeping, I don't want to work with anything that gets bigger than a blue tail or tricolor monitor. I might keep a couple coming eye, a couple nucleus, maybe a sulfur, but it's not like I'd rather work with the more in between size and stuff that's going to be all of what I like.
Was that? Did you just say maybe a sulfur just as a hint, hint, wink, wink, nod, nod to Wes?
Honestly, Wes is the only reason I want sulfurs possibly in my life.
Okay.
If I ever get a sulfur, it'll be from Wes and no one else. I'm sorry. Not even. I love Uncle Mike. I love Mike Stefani, but I would turn down a sulfur from Mike Stefani. Like, if I ever get one, it would only come from Wes. Like, he's like, I don't really care for them that much, but Wes produces some crazy ones.
Yeah, no, they're all. I mean, we have 3 of them from Wes, and they're awesome.
The ones y'all have, and I see ones that other people post that they got from Wes, and gosh, they're fucking gorgeous. They're insane.
Yeah. And I Wes, this is me calling you out again to come on the podcast just to bring Maui on.
That guy is sweet. Honestly, I might, for a Florida trip, I might look into maybe seeing if I can drive up to Cali. I try to get Wes to come down to the zoo with us. That would have been fun. I'd rather go up there though. I want to see. I didn't realize. I don't know much about Wes or what the fuck he keeps besides he keeps sulfurs. So when I saw Maui in that most recent post of his, I was mind blown. That thing, I immediately looked at Emily and was like, "We have to go visit this motherfucker." I was like, "We need to go see this guy." And I know the breeder. Like, I've been following Shane for years, and he works with some incredible monitors, but his retics are insane. So it's cool seeing someone, because I followed him just mainly for his retic production. So it's always cool seeing someone that like Wes, or someone I know that's getting an animal from another breeder that I've been following for years. So I was like, that's so cool.
Well, what was funny is after we got done, I was like, Wes, you're gonna love this episode because of blah 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 blah. After we got done with Jasmine, he's like, oh yeah, and I was like, dude, I just didn't realize how small some of these Komodos are. And I told him the weight of that male Komodo. He goes, Maui's bigger than that. I was like, how do you weigh? He goes, Maui's over 100 pounds. I'm like, no.
Really?
No. Yeah, that lizard's huge. Maui's got to be every bit of 100 pounds.
What?
Yeah.
What?
He's a tank.
Wes, I need you to go measure that motherfucker and send me a picture of him on a scale. Like, I need to see that. That is, I can't comprehend that, dude.
I think Chris said that I was talking to Chris about it. He said, I think Maui's like 8.5 to 9 feet long. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Wes said he's right at 8 foot.
Yeah.
In the post, I think. I don't remember. That is 100 fucking pounds, dude.
Dude, there's been stories of Asian water monitors getting 130 pounds. Because there's always the debate, what's bigger, Asian water monitor or a black throat?
Whoa. I did not know any of that.
Yeah.
And that's like a healthy Asian water monitor?
Yeah.
What?
Maui's no slouch, man. Maui's...
Well, no, I'm not talking about Maui yet. Like, I've seen him. I know. I'm talking about, like, 130-pound monitor is, like, healthy?
Yeah.
Asian water monitor?
Yeah.
Damn. Holy shit. So I guess an obese... I guess an obese Asian water monitor could get 300 pounds, then. 200?
I don't know how. Probably 2, maybe. That'd be serious. But I wonder what it is. What is the record for? The largest Asian water monitor ever recorded was 10.5 feet long and weighed 165 pounds.
Damn. That's insane. Holy
That's
shit.
a big lizard. That's a big lizard. So yeah, I bet you, I mean, that lizard right there, that's a big lizard.
Yeah, that's nuts. I did not know they got that big. Yeah, I know more of a reason I don't want that.
I mean, look at how many people that have them that are, and I know there was this big discussion, which is why Wes brought up Maui, is I want this puppy dog tame monitor, and a lot of people do have Asian water monitors that are puppy dog tame.
That was my post.
Was that your post?
They're talking about how people need to stop treating these things, or like getting them to be tamed. Yeah, that was my post.
Yeah, it was your post, and it's true. Everything's got its days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dogs have their days, cats have their minutes. But there's days where I can go in there, like I was saying, the big bells. I can go in there and pet him, and he's fine. There's other days where I can go in there and he's like, "Oh, just leave me alone."
And like that's the thing, like they definitely, especially Asian water monitors, they definitely have the capability of being puppy dog tame, and there's nothing wrong with that per se. Like it depends on how you're doing it. Like people like, I'm not going to say the name out loud, but if you go back into earlier this episode and we were talking about caimans, that breeder, when you are force handling baby monitors fresh out the egg, I don't agree with that, man. I don't agree with that at all. Like I don't agree with forced interactions on reptiles. I think if you want to get them tame, and it's possible, like a lot of people will just force it, basically. But I think the best way, in my opinion, what I think is most humane and ethical is just let them do their thing. Respect their boundaries. Respect their boundaries and just let them do their thing. And if they are a friendly monitor and you respect them enough, they'll calm down. They'll trust you. You'll earn their respect. You don't have to fucking put them force them through to be tame. And then when you are respecting their boundaries, if they don't become tame, like you should expect that. That's what the natural behavior of this animal is. I hate people. I'll repeat it, just like I said on the post. I hate people that get monitors and crocodilians, and their only goal and only thing they want to do is have this thing be like a puppy dog. If you want a fucking puppy dog, go buy a fucking puppy dog. If you can't afford an actual purebred, go to the rescue and go get one for free. All right, you don't have to go get a $50 monitor that's gonna be just like a puppy dog. Like they're reptiles. They're not meant to be like that.
But that's defeats the whole cool factor purpose.
Yeah, but I think there's just as much coolness in having an animal acting its natural behavior than it is having it have a forced interaction and everything. I think having an animal that's in its natural behavior that respects you, like if it respects you, like Maui is a great example. I don't know what all Wes did raising it, so maybe it's not a good example. But something like that where like Wes and Maui have a relationship built on respect and trust rather than him like I don't know. I haven't seen Wes going out and taking this monitor out on a leash and walking this thing. It's just not what the animal's meant to do. Let it live its life, let it do its thing, and you'll earn its respect. And if it respects you and trusts you, you will have a lot more good and greater interactions than when you have forced it to be tame. You'll have more authentic and more genuine.
Yeah. Like, you've seen Wes's cover photo?
No.
Of him sitting on the floor?
Maybe.
With Maui next to him?
Is that what his cover photo is?
Yeah, that's Wes and Maui, not his kid.
I thought it was, yeah, see, he's changed it. So let me look at his... Oh, I see. His cover photo. I think the profile picture. Yeah, like that is cool. Yeah. But I don't agree on forcing an interaction to get that monitor like that. If you're just being respectable about it and you earn its respect and it ends up being like that, that's fucking awesome. But it's when you're forcibly grabbing these animals and forcing them, like, I don't know how to put what I'm trying to think into words, but
I get what you're saying, because so when you're dealing with monitors, they're highly intelligent animals,
mm-hmm.
right? So when you start to grab them, they have that flight or fight mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're smaller and you're a predator to them. So when you reach down and grab them like so, it freaks them out. So by forcing them to be in there, you're submitting to them, and then you're doing some psychological warfare.
Yep.
Where they freak out. So they're submitting to you in a bad way. So where they will lash out on you. It's no different than like the people that used to train big cats with whips.
Mm.
You know, it's like, oh, the whip comes out, so I know I have to behave. Well, when the whip's not out, what do you think that big cat's going to do?
Yeah.
Going to kill you.
Yeah, it's just like you're breaking. It's not like you're taming down this animal. You're getting it to the point where it just realizes is that no matter what it tries to do, it's not going to work, so it just gives up. And that is not a good mentality, in my opinion, to have. Like, oh my gosh, I'm in a lot of crocodilian groups. I don't know if you are or not, but if you are, you probably see this question asked probably like 3 times a day. How do I tame down my caiman? And then when you go in the comments, 50% of the people say, just let it bite you. Just let it bite you. Just let it keep biting you until it realizes it can't do nothing to you. That is not good. It's besides the fact that you're letting it bite you, that's just retarded.
Use toothbrushes.
Yeah, like you're breaking the mental state of that animal. You're not taming it down. You're showing that animal that no matter what it does, won't work. I hope this makes sense at all. But like that's not taming it down. That's mentally fucking this animal.
Well, I mean, and some of it's training too, because you can spot train these things. You can target train them so they know, okay, this is this.
Yeah.
And it's like one of yours and my disagreements is I still believe in the moving the snake from one cage to another to feed him.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just don't think it really is that important. I think if you're... I think, like, my opinion on that is, like, it's kind of useless, in my opinion. Like, because, I mean, the whole point of that... Maybe not the whole point of that, but I feel like most people's idea of that is they're going to move the snake out of its enclosure to feed it, so that way it's not, like, aggressive. But all you're doing is just, like, you are removing the food response, but that snake won't have a crazy food response if you're interacting with it daily, in my opinion. Like, I feel like if you're interacting with that snake daily and handling it daily, when it sees your hand, its first thought isn't going to be, oh, that's food. It's like the same reason, like, when you hook train a big snake, when you pet it with the hook to make, like, oh, it's not feeding time, it's essentially the same thing. But if you're not doing those daily interactions or holding it fairly often, and the only interaction you have is feeding it, then I feel like, you probably should definitely move it to a different tub if you don't want it to bite you every time you open the cage. Because that's all you're doing is you're making it think you're feeding it every time.
Yeah, and like that big female doom rolls we have.
Mm-hmm.
We tongue feed pretty much, we tongue feed everything.
Yeah.
If we don't tongue feed, we just, like for the monitors, we throw food in there. Or the crocodilians that won't tongue feed, we just place some food on their...
what was that squeaking noise?
The dog's got a squeaker toy.
Oh. Thought it was like a monkey or something.
No, I do not have any monkeys. But yeah, I don't know where her aggression came from, but now you pull it out, she wants to come right out, and she wants to come right at you.
Yeah.
And it's like, big snake, gonna hurt.
Oh, 100%.
But and by hurt, I mean it's going to bruise the next day. You're going to bleed a lot, it's going to bruise the next day. And if it's on your hand, it's going to hurt because you're moving your hand all the time. But that's just one of those things that I got in the habit of doing. And when animals aren't, it's like I've talked about before, when animals aren't mine, I'm not going to do any corrective actions or anything like that. They're not mine to train. You do things your way. You've been doing it for a long time. Can't say longer than me. You've been more frequently doing it
Me?
longer than I have. No, I'm talking about Chris.
Oh, I was going to say, I have not been doing it long at all.
Well, but I'm saying, I mean, I got out of the business for 10 years.
Yeah, and that, I don't think, I really don't think it's that big of an issue. Like, I think if that's your method, if that's how you feel comfortable, if it works for you, it works for you. Like, if it's not broken, don't fix it type shit.
Like, I actually kind of enjoy talking to some of the older school guys because they understand what I did. Like, I was talking to Chaz last night about how in 2004, for a graduation present for myself, I bought my first 2 Euromasters. Right? Used a red heat light, put them on bone-aid sand, fed them finch food, misted them down in the mornings. Every morning, I'd mist them down. Every once in a while, I'd give them fresh greens. 6 or 8 months after I got them, she dropped a clutch.
Oh, yeah.
5 eggs. And at that point in time, you're like, what temperature do I incubate them at? What do I do with them? Nobody was breeding Euromastics in. Like, what do I do? So, I mean,
keep going.
So it was like, okay, incubate them like bearded dragons. No, that's not right. That is not right at all. But like talking about the old school days of getting those cheap red lidded Tupperwares, and you put vermiculite in them, moisten down the vermiculite, put all your eggs on there, take press and seal, put them on top of that, put them in a chicken incubator. What you would do, because there wasn't, I mean, I'm sure there was on the professional level, but there was no real readily available reptile incubators back then.
Yeah,
and I mean that's 20 years ago.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure
everything was different.
Everything was so different, and there wasn't the vast information. Like, dude, you got to think. When I graduated high school, the iPhone wasn't even a thing yet.
I was 2 years old.
Yeah, so the iPhone was not even a thing when I graduated high school. Like, I still had a Motorola Razr. No, I didn't have a Razr until after I graduated high school. So that's one of the skills, because what we have now at our fingertips, I think we take for granted all the people that did it before.
Oh, 100%.
We were really learning, and it was like you had to know somebody who knew somebody. Social media wasn't a thing, so you couldn't really. So you had to either read Reptile Magazine or you had to do research on Wikipedia, and there was no real, or like back when kingsnake.com was like the only thing to use. And you had to go to your reptile shops and say, hey, has anybody done this or anything like that? And nobody did it because why do we need to breed anything? We can import everything, so there's no reason to breed.
Yeah.
And like talking about how I would have the high yellow ball pythons that would come in on my ball python shipments.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what is this high yellow ball python? I'd sell them for $129 versus $60, and they were lessers.
Oh,
we didn't know. Yeah. Or you had exanthic ball pythons that would come in, sold them as fancy ball pythons. We didn't know what they were, but could you imagine how much money we had in ball pythons?
Yeah, that's
today.
crazy.
So I mean,
everything was different.
It was just so different, and I mean, really, people weren't. I mean, I'm sure there were people breeding stuff, but there weren't people breeding a ton because it was easier to just import stuff.
Yeah, the guy that makes these tents. Actually, he's been in the game for over 40 years. He's an old school keeper, and so we'll talk about like the old times and stuff. And just yesterday we were talking about it, and I'll see if I can try and show you. This was some of the wooden cage he had in 1988, and he said that they would spray paint the 150 watt floodlights red. He's like, that's how old school we were. We were spray painting the lights red. It's crazy to think about how far the times have come. Now it's you use a red light, you might as well go to hell.
Yeah, right. Or back when everybody used to use heat rugs.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
Yeah, or how about this? I remember back when heat pads, right? Heat pads were bad.
Mm-hmm.
Under tank heaters were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Now what are people using again?
That's all they use.
What does every snake rack have?
Under tank heaters.
Under tank heat rag.
I hate the whole red light thing because I think that pisses me off because I don't think red light is bad when you use it as a night light, but I don't know enough science behind it, but I don't see what is wrong with using a red heat light during the daytime because you can't say it's the red lights because everyone's LED lights have red lights in them and that's not affecting shit. So it can't be the infrared.
The wavelengths of the red light. So producing red light, it has to do with the third eye.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, little third eye.
Yeah.
Everything's got. So it has to do with the third eye and being able to.
So it only affects reptiles with the third eye? So like snakes are fine?
All reptiles have a third eye.
I thought it was just certain lizards. Or most lizards. All lizards.
All lizards. Everything technically has a third eye.
Do snakes have one? Really?
Yeah. Whether they're prevalent, I mean, people say that humans have a third eye.
Yeah, snakes don't have a third eye.
Are you sure?
The partial eye is also lost in ectothermic okay, whatever. Snakes lack it. Lizards have it. Turtles and crocodilians have it. The snakes do not. So, okay, everything but snakes have it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, everything but snakes have legs, too.
Technically, snakes have legs still. Especially boas. Technically, boas still have 2 little legs. But, that's, I don't know.
What do you call their legs?
I'm being so serious right now. I'm not even joking.
What do you call their legs?
I don't know the scientific behind it. Let me look it up.
You talking about their spurs?
No, but the boa spurs are, I think, considered thirded. Boas have legs. Yeah, so the little spurs that you see are technically leg bones. If you, like... Yeah. So technically, boas and pythons have it because those spurs, but they don't have legs. So they make it easy. They don't have legs.
So yeah, basically what it is it's the red wavelength, the deep red wavelength of light affects their ability to thermoregulate. Thermoregulate is what I'm understanding. And that's why people switch to ceramic heat emitters. Well, when you start, I know you hate Arcadia, but when you start to research that DP projector.
Well, they're not the only ones that make it.
But I'm saying they're the ones that were kind of the first people to really do it. But they have a really great video that explains why a DP projector is so good. And there's one person in the tortoise group, the turtle groups, and she's like the mod and all this stuff. Her name's like Noelle or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely hate that person with a fiery passion. Like, it's like, go away. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, you want to use a ceramic heat emitter or a heat panel because this. I said, what's wrong with the DP projector? Well, the DP projector puts off light. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. What the fuck is she talking about?
Yeah. Well, it puts, and like, I talked to my breeder about things, and all, like the breeder that I got my leopard tortoise from,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh, well, this. She told this girl will tell people to take a tortoise hutch and put basically like a greenhouse on top of it and hang all your lights from it and all this to do it. And I was like, well, my breeder said to put it in a Rubbermaid tote that's completely sealed off that just has heat in it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that doesn't work. That doesn't allow enough fresh air through it. I'm like, where are your scientific proofs of all this stuff?
Yeah, no, that person's stupid. Everyone
Or
uses
like
rubber. PVC is really good.
These foods are good. These foods are PVC enclosures are bad too for tortoises.
Tell that to the fucking tell that to the big breeders. Tell that to Mad for Rad.
Yeah, and it's like it holds humidity. I can keep 80% humidity in a PVC enclosure all day long.
Mm-hmm.
And you know my favorite thing that everybody freaks out about is coil fluorescence. Coil fluorescents are bad. Why is it? Explain to me in a scientific reason how a coil fluorescence is bad.
I think the only reason it would be bad is it doesn't it's in a concentrated area, but it's going to be in a you just put it over their basking spot and you're fine. I personally use linears just because I prefer linears, but I mean there's times like I have a coil fluorescent with my baby caramel pink right now.
And I guess I shouldn't say coil fluorescent. I mean compact fluorescents. I don't use the coil ones. I use the compact ones, the ones that have to use.
Yeah, that's the one I have as well.
But it's like, oh, you can't use those. Well, why can't you use those? Well, because they don't have an accurate reading of what UV they put out. I'm like, well, it's the same freaking brand as Zoo Med is Zoo Med. Zoo Med fluorescence, a 10.0 compact or a compact fluorescent, and a 10.0 linear fluorescent. It's the exact same thing. It's the same technology. It's just got a different screw in.
Maybe in the old days it was. That's one thing that's kind of funny and weird about this reptile community.
That all happened because of Exoterra. Exoterra's UV bulbs, the coil fluorescent UV bulbs, were a problem, and they were destroying animals. So that's what everybody's problem is. You can't use these because of that. You can't use these because of that. And it's like there are people out in Europe that the only thing they use is coil or is compact fluorescence.
Yeah, it's just weird because like some people will like hear something about the old days, like compact fluorescence being bad, and just like we'll stick with that. They're bad forever just because that's how it was back in the old days. Nowadays, technology has evolved, where I can't see it being different. But like then there's other issues where like keeping what so like you'll use the knowledge and like quote unquote like information from the old days when it comes to that compact fluorescent, but when it comes to like keeping like snakes in non-bioactives or whatever the hell, fuck the old days. They were doing it wrong. So it's like, make up your mind. Were the people doing it wrong? Were they doing it right? Like, obviously they were doing both wrong and right, but it's like people don't want to admit that something has changed.
Well, and it's like, how many people are going to crucify these brand new LED UVBs? The LED UVs?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how often do I change it? Because you say you got a 10,000 hour lifespan, but how long is that UV good for?
Yeah, that's why I'm in the reptile lighting group on Facebook. That place is lit. All the admins are literal, like scientists that do studies and study light wavelengths for a living, and then they apply it all to reptile lighting, and they will do it for every brand, every single new thing that comes out. And shit, a lot of them actually work alongside these brands like Zoo Med and help them like with their lights and like information, like the readings and all that. And so like from what I've heard or what I've seen, I haven't really looked too much into it, but like so far the LED UVBs have been getting good feedback from that group. So usually that's a good thing.
So here's a food for thought kind of thing, and just to think about. This is where I'm going to get crucified and chastised about everything. Because the way a DP projector works is it actually goes down and it penetrates the soil, right? Mm-hmm. To create heat, right? Well, what does a reptile use to digest their food?
Heat,
right? Mm-hmm. So if you're heating up the ground, so the whole idea is you put a piece of slate or a dark colored object or just the ground underneath a DP projector. It produces that heat that gives that radiant heat throughout, but it penetrates down into the soil that gives this heat to allow the animal to rest in their basking spot. Heat, right? Mm-hmm. Absorbed through the stomach. where are animals' food getting digested in their stomach? Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I think so, from my knowledge.
So if you have a basking spot, right, a par 38, right, or whatever basking bowl you want to use, par 38s are just popular. So you have that over top of the basking spot, and you have a 90-degree basking area, and then you have your deep heat projector, and then you have your fluorescent light, right? So if your fluorescent light is providing you your UV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why do you need to have a basking light if you have a deep heat projector which pushes down the air or
You don't.
heats the ambient temperature and heats down the bottom? There are many people that will say that you have to have that par 38 floodlight because that's the only way that it will work.
Yeah, people are just dumb, man. Like, people are so stupid. And you know what it is? It's Facebook. It's these people on Facebook. Like, the amount of just misinformation I see in, goddamn, I'm not even going to say some, I'm going to say every single reptile group. It's just sad. It's really just sad.
Well, and like I said, that Noel person, like, there was somebody that was asking, what do I feed my aquatic turtles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I posted a comment. I said, here, this is the perfect person to ask. I mentioned you.
Aw, thank you.
Well, because you weren't a person in the group, and you were an outside source, that was a bad person to ask.
What the hell?
Like, you can't. And my post got deleted because I mentioned someone outside of the group just because they might be expert or something like that doesn't mean that their information's full or valid here. And I'm like,
what?
So now every turtle group I join, I make sure that person is not a mod in that group.
Yeah, that's one thing too, man. People will see that someone is an admin or a moderator in a group and just think they know everything, and that's just not true. I am in God, I was going somewhere with that. Oh, I'm in a group on Facebook about for these grow tents. Of course I am, but there's 2 admins, no moderators in this group. The owner of the group is one of the admins, obviously. The motherfucker has not typed or said anything in this group in over 4 years, and he's the admin of this group. Yet, my buddy Danny, that builds and makes these tents, apparently this owner is like, I don't know if he's partnered with one of these grow tent brands or something. I think he's partnered with like Ator or one of these other brands. But every single time Danny just says the word reptile tents, like referring to his brand, he gets banned from the group, and the post gets deleted, just because the owner doesn't like him, like, he just doesn't like the fact that he's trying to sell his own brand of tents in a group made for tents, and the group is specifically for reptiles, and like these tents are made specifically for reptiles. There's no other grow tents made specifically for reptiles, so like you'd think he'd be allowed to post that, but nope, admin does not like that.
So, and then the reason I found out this person was a moderator in the group is because I try to do my research about things. I try to be somewhat knowledgeable about animals before I buy them.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhat. So, I joined the group, like, when I got my leopard tortoise, and it was like doing all my research, reading all this, blah, 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 and talking to the breeder. And this breeder, you see my leopard tortoise, it's absolutely gorgeous. This woman produces some serious stuff, and I still message her and ask her questions, and she asks for pictures sometimes about, hey, how's he doing? And I got in a debate with this person about how you're saying that this food is bad, yet everyone that deals with tortoises, the breeders, even the breeder that I bought my tortoise from, feeds this stuff. And you're saying that this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. Explain yourself, Jimmy. I got kicked from the group because I started a fight with a moderator.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like that old monitor group that we were in. You remember
Well,
that
it's
group?
like,
That was a shit
yeah,
show.
I'm still in that group. You're not.
Yeah, no, I left that group because I was tired of it. I got banned from that group 7 times, Chad. 7 times. And not a single. Okay, maybe one time I deserved it because I was being a dickhead. But none of the other two, the 6 of the 7 times, I did not deserve it at all. Like, one of the times, someone got a fresh hatchling Asian water monitor and wanted to put it in a 10-foot enclosure. I said, don't do that. I said, do not do that. And I got kicked for the group because that's misinformation and that there's no such thing as too big of an enclosure for a baby monitor. I was like, are you serious right now? I was like, you obviously don't know who you're talking about or what you're talking about. But they would just ban me for just literally saying, like, obvious facts that anyone would know. And, like, I would get backed up on my statements by a lot of other people. And usually those people would also get banned. And it's just crazy. Screw that group. I don't know what the name of that group is, but screw. What is it? Monitor Lizard Community? Screw y'all. Whatever. Whatever
Yeah,
y'all.
like I
Whatever
said,
that group name was.
I can't even be part of the. I can't even be part of a lot of the turtle groups because of that one person. Like,
Yeah,
I can't stand
join the
it.
TTPG group. That's the only turtle tortoise group you need to join. Like, straight up. That place is legit.
TTPG?
Yeah, it stands for Tortoise and Turtle Preservation Group. And if you become a member with them, I don't know how much it is, like a year or monthly it is to be a member, but you get access to basically a surplus list. And so their whole thing is like for conservation, and they want to keep bloodlines and these turtles alive. So basically, say I wanted what's something I want? Argentine side neck. So, yeah, sure. Perfect example. Or, no, even better example. Chris wants a radiated. Say Chris wants a radiated, and he's a member of this group. All he has to do, like, and he's like a paying member of the group, like not just a part of the Facebook group, like an actual member of TTPG. All he has to do is post on the surplus list wanting radiated tortoise. Say sex, age, male, or whatever your preference is. And you just get, like, sometimes you have to pay for one, but 9 times out of 10, you get sent one. Like, a breeder will send you one. Like, for free. You get gifted these tortoises, like, and turtles. And it's really cool, because they're doing it to conserve, make sure there's more bloodlines, and these guys, if anything ever happens to them in the wild, we have colonies here, insurance colonies. I know, like, the first week I joined the group, Facebook group, not a paying member yet. I just can't afford it, sadly. But first week I joined, someone posted, I just received these 2 baby galops. I never expected it. I just posted that I wanted them and that we've been looking for some, and they showed up. Like, and he was like, thank you so much for sending me them and trusting me with their care and all that. And I was like, damn, you're just getting free Galapagos tortoises out here? That's nuts. So the TTPG is it's definitely the best turtle preservation group out there. I like it more than TCC and TSA. It's a good group, and everyone in there it's actually a community. Everyone in there is nice, and everyone's willing to help, and they actually know what they're talking about. Usually, there's not really many dumbasses in that group.
Yeah, so that's always a plus.
Yeah, but shit, man. Is there anything else we want to talk about? We've been going on for over 2 hours.
Yeah, I know. Just randomly talking about Facebook drama and
everything.
I don't know. I'm excited for a trip.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about our Florida trip,
really. Well, I mean, we started talking about crocodiles, and we love crocodiles.
Yeah, I'm excited. Zoo Tampa, October 1st. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, if you guys want to come out, we will be there. Just look for the 2 giant guys that look like us.
Yeah, and we're going to have a lot of friends with us, so it'll probably be not hard to miss us.
Yeah.
And then
lots of friends, couple little kids. And yeah.
You know, man, I'm so excited. I'm excited to try this ice cream place. You've been hyping it up.
Dude, those ice cream.
And what is that? Rick's? Was that what you sent?
Rick's.
We have to go there, bro. That place looks so good. We're going.
Rick's on the River, man.
Yeah, that place looks good. But yeah, October 1st we'll be in Tampa at the Tampa Zoo. So if you guys want to meet us or anything, if anyone's even wanting to meet us,
it's Zoo Tampa.
Zoo Tampa at Lowry Park. My bad.
Yeah, Zoo Tampa. We'll be giving the zookeepers a hard time, maybe.
Oh, I am, but Jasmine's probably gonna hate us.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, hey, so, or you know who they're really gonna hate my son because he's like, I have one of those. You're not doing this right. And it's the funniest thing in the world when he goes in there and he's like, well, that's not right because that's not how we keep them. That's not right. And it's like this kid, he goes to a zoo and he's not amused at anything because he has all this stuff at home. He gets to go pet. It's like,
well, hopefully the tortoise encounter will make him impressed.
He knows nothing about it, and I'm going to keep it that way.
Well, you should. That'll be an awesome surprise.
He's going to go in there and be like, what?
I think it's going to be fun. I'm excited to officially meet you and meet him. I think it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, he's pretty excited. He knows that we're going to the zoo, and he knows that you're going to be down there, so he's excited to finally meet you too. So I'm excited to meet you. I'm excited to hang out. I gotta buy you a beer. I'll buy you a beer at Rick's.
I'll buy you a beer as well. We'll trade.
Tradesies.
But
so,
yeah.
All right, man. Well,
thank you guys for listening to the episode. If you guys enjoyed, like the video, share the video, comment down below, all that jazz. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Every week, we're trying to do every Saturday. Sometimes we have delays and it comes out on like a Monday, like this episode. But stick with us, and I promise you'll have episodes. We're not going to ever stop. Yeah. I promise you that.
Yeah, we're just going to keep rambling on about random stuff and probably talk about the same stuff more than once.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds like us.
That's since Wes won't come on, we just need to have a whole episode where we just talk about Wes.
We should. That would be fun. That would be fun.
Just because he won't come on.
At that point, I feel like he would have to come on. That's how we get him on.
Yeah, to clarify everything. So we just make stories up about him. So we
just start making shit up then. Like, oh, you know Wes had Komodo dragons at one point?
Don't do that.
But thank you guys for watching this week's episode. If you guys enjoyed, we'll have another episode this Saturday. So I guess it'll be a quick episode because this one's coming out Monday. So Saturday we'll have another episode. So be excited. Hopefully we can have a guest on. I'm not too sure. I'm gonna talk to Spencer again because he's finally been talking to me and not leaving me on red. So I'll see if he wants to come on and we can talk about some damn morphed toads and frogs. We've been wanting to do that for so long.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about some of those other toads.
So hopefully we'll have him on this week. Yeah, I guess we'll see you guys next week.
All right, see you guys.
See ya. Peace out.